What's good, NBA family? Welcome back to another episode of the Clutch Talk podcast slash YouTube slash We Do It All. As always, I'm your host, John. Very happy to be here. And we doubling back. I think this is the third or fourth time where he's on the show again, man. Great guy, knowledgeable dude. Hot Take J, 408, my dog Jason Gray. What's the deal? How you doing?
Man, I'm excited to get into it. Trade deadline coming up, man. I love listening to your show. I love being a part of your show and just give my little 2 cents, talking hoops.
We
So
love having you on, Jay. That's what I'll say for that. And you one of my favorite people just to get on the show and just have some good, knowledgeable hoop conversations. So happy to have you on. As always, for the family out there, if you guys want to stay up to date with everything that Jay's got going on, it'll be linked in the description down below. He's been dropping some videos on the YouTube, man, and they're very knowledgeable, man. So check them out. I'll have it linked in the description down below. And for us, y'all know what it is, man. If you new, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Come join the family. Returner, we happy to have you. But let's go ahead and get into it, man. I mean, week 15, we just wrapped up week 15 in the NBA because today is Sunday, February 4th. So let's go ahead and start off with some news around the league. I think one of the biggest news is that this week in week 15, we saw the full All-Star roster got revealed. For my folks on YouTube, I will have that up right there for you. But for my folks on podcast, don't you worry, I got you. I'm gonna go ahead and run off the teams. We know what the Western Conference and Eastern Conference starters are. But this week, we got revealed with the reserves. So I'm gonna go ahead and run off the reserves for the East. We got Bam Adebayo, we got Paolo Banchero, we got Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Maxey, Donovan Mitchell, Julius Randle. For the West, we got Devin Booker, Stephen Curry, Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Karl Anthony Towns. So, my brother, I want to give you the floor first. Let me get some of your thoughts on some of these reserves.
for the most part, um, it's subjective. I think that they got it right for the most part. I think that there's one or two questionable, but it always comes back to that winning versus all-star, right? And so how much is winning, should it be rewarded with some of these names in here? So like that's kind of like the constant annual debate from my vantage point. For the most part, I didn't think there was anything egregious that stuck out. Would you think?
I mean,
Any big snubs?
there are some snubs which we're gonna get into here in a bit. But I mean, as far as like first reaction, first thoughts, I mean, dog, like the league is so talented. Like there's only 12 spots, so there's bound to be some snubs, right? So that's kind of exactly
Hmm.
what I want to get into with you, because like I said, there's only 12 roster spots for each team. The league is at an all-time high. I mean, I don't know, Jay, you've been watching basketball for little bit longer than me. Have you ever
Yeah.
seen the NBA at a better talent level than this right here, or no? I don't think so.
I, I I don't think so. And I saw a little snippet from JJ Redick. I don't know if you saw it online where he was talking about them opening it up to 15 spots,
Which they
right?
should. Which
And
they should.
I agree. So think about it like this: when they open it up to like Vegas and Seattle, right?
Hmm.
That's 12 new active rosters, 15 roster spots. So wouldn't you think it should be commensurate that all-star recognition should be scaled up a little bit to calibrate for that, right?
It
I
should.
don't
It
know.
should. And
Common
and the
sense.
and the worst part of it is, Jay, that like some of these players like won't make it. Like we'll get into a little bit more in depth, but like a De'Aaron Fox like won't make it, and that will heavily affect his contract and incentives. And it's just like he only doesn't make it because of how great the league is right now, and because there's only 12 spots. So I mean, it's a real tricky situation, but exactly like how I
Hmm.
said. With the league being at an all-time high with the talent level, I do want to get into some of the biggest snubs that we've got. So, as the guest, I do want to give you the floor, and I want to know, Jay, who's your biggest
Mm.
snub of this year's All-Star game?
Mm. Biggest snub. So first off, I'm gonna make sure I set the tone here because I don't believe in complaining about problems without presenting a
Solution.
solution,
I like that.
right?
I
But
like
it also goes the same way in reverse. I'm not going to talk about a snub without saying who he should made it over, right? That's
that.
not
Okay,
even fair. That's not even like
it's
if we're
real.
just going to have a real conversation, right?
It's real.
So for me, I would
Ah, here you
you know
go.
I go
Here
I
you go.
you know
Here
I
we
go
go.
you already know, like for me, Jaylen Brown, like I'm just coming at him,
Yeah.
and it's like he, the most. He's not the second most important person on his team, and I'm not. They
Damn.
could be the. So if Boston, if their record justifies two, I'm going with Porzingis. I'm going, a lot of clamoring for Derek White out there. And maybe you could even argue Drew. But I mean, the second best wing on the team. Like it don't. Uh,
I ain't gonna
I'm
lie,
gonna say
Jay.
Jaylen Brown.
I ain't gonna
Go
lie,
ahead.
Jay. Ever since you came on the show, you've been giving Jaylen Brown a whole bunch of strays. I ain't gonna lie, Jay.
I
This ain't
have
your
been.
first
I
appearance.
have been, and they're not gonna stop. And again, let me be clear. Jaylen Brown, I think, is like worth 35 to 40 million
Okay.
on a team where he is the best wing,
Okay.
right? That's no slouch. And I think that he could earn that and be an annual all-star. And I like his game, but what he does best, Jason Tatum does better. And the team, the depth, the money, the skill set versus Porzingis and Derek White and Drew Holiday, I don't 35 to 40 million dollars on another team where he's the best wing. That's how I feel about him. If that's shade, then that's just shade. That's just what it is. But I'm just keeping it a buck.
Just like how your poster says in the back. I
Yeah.
may be wrong, but I doubt it. So I feel it. But
So
Jay,
the
so who's your
person
biggest
go ahead.
snub then? No, so who's your biggest snub?
My biggest snub to me, I'm gonna say Scotty Barnes, and that's not cool to say, but like to me, Scotty Barnes
The
should have
biggest.
been an All Star. Yeah, because like you could go down the list and you could say Derek White, you could say Trey Young, but like for me, I think Scotty Barnes is a star. He's gonna blow up, and the criticism for him is that their team stinks. I don't hold all-star judgments based off of your team. If
Okay.
your situation is messed up, like Steph's is with Gold State, I'm not going to give you a demerit for that. So
Okay.
I go straight off of that. And so you can go with the Porzingis, you could go with the Derek White, you can go with the Trey Youngs out there. In the West, and I was kind of fixated on the East right there. In the West, you could go with De'Aaron Fox, but my biggest one, I'm gonna say Scotty Barnes.
Scotty. All
It's
right.
just yeah.
You ready for this, brother? My
Yeah,
biggest
please.
snub for the
Please.
2024 All-Star game is none other than DeMontis Sabonis. I mean, the man is putting up a career high in points at 20 points per game, career
Okay.
high in rebounds at 13 rebounds per game, assists, 8 assists per game, leading the NBA in double doubles, second in triple doubles, first in rebounds, sixth in assists. And check this out, brother. He's been durable. He's only missed 2 games so far this season. And
Okay.
guess what? The Kings are sitting in the 5th seed. The Kings are sitting in the 5th seed. I think it is absolute an atrocity. The
It
fact that
is. If
Kings
they don't.
players okay, Sabonis maybe all right. There's a lot of there's a lot of great bigs around this league. Maybe he doesn't make it, but I still think that's one of the biggest snubs. But De'Aaron Fox, that's another one of the biggest snubs. Also, career high in points, 27 points per game, shooting 46% from the field. Also, career high in 3-point percentage, 37% from the 3-point line. And guess what, Jay? I'm going to say it again. Durable and available, and the Kings are in the 5th seed. There is no reason
Question.
that those 2 players shouldn't have made it. What's up?
Question. Okay. So I'm with you 1000%. A King, Sacramento King should be on there. Um, my question to you is Sabonis 1A or 1B on that team?
1B. De'Aaron Fox is 1A.
So so then why would you not say the biggest snub is De'Aaron Fox then?
I mean, look at the guards.
Is it
who
a
are you,
guard? Is a
who,
guard? Is a guard to forward thing?
who,
It's a guard
who,
to
who,
forward
who
thing.
are you gonna replace?
No,
Who are you
you're
gonna?
right.
What
No,
guard would you
you're
take
right.
out?
So I mean, if you look at it from that logic, right, and you have
Yeah,
to have a balance of big to guards on the league, then I get it. And a Sacramento King should be on there. Um,
and that's my
and it does
biggest.
get hairy.
No, I was gonna say like that's my biggest issue with just this year's All-Star game. It's like with only 12 roster spots and the league being at an all-time high with talent level, sometimes it's like, yo, you did deserve that All-Star spot, but it's like, who am I gonna take out? Because you didn't deserve it more than Shea, you didn't deserve it more than Luca, you didn't
Mhm.
deserve it more than Booker, you didn't deserve it more than
Yeah,
Curry. You know what I'm saying? So the list can go
or
on.
Ant.
Or like there you go, right? I mean, bro, you can legitimately make an argument, which I think you have made. We were texting about it.
Yeah.
That Ant should have started, but it's like, okay, well, how are you going to take out Luca? How are you possibly going to take out SGA when they are exceeding expectations, when they are balling out on an insane level? I mean, so it just becomes tough. So if you're putting Anthony Edwards, the man who's in the number one seed for the team that has a number one defense right now, and he's anchoring the offensive end and the defensive end, you're going to put him on the bench. It's kind of hard to bring in a De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
Like that's my issue with this year's All-Star game, and that's why I am sick and tired of this 12 roster spots. Let's push it to 15.
I agree, 1000%.
All right, brother. And I'm going to talk about Trae Young real quick because Trae Young, look, man,
Okay.
I'm not the biggest Trae Young fan. I'll be honest. Like, I think he's we talk about this all the time off camera, like one of those ball centric players who, like, he really, really needs the ball in his hands. And Trae Young is honestly a defensive liability, not that great off ball. He really needs the ball in his hands. And when he's not hitting, he shoots his way out of it, which as a basketball player, totally understand. You got to shoot your way out of slumps. But sometimes he shoots his way, like gets way too much tunnel vision, shoots his way out of slumps. But what I want to talk about is the fact that right now he's putting up 27 points per game, 11 rebounds on 37% from the 3-point line. But what I think is crazy, and check this out, check this stat right here out, Jay. He has this year when he got snubbed for the All-Star game. He's becoming the second player in NBA history to be averaging more than 25 points per game and more than 10 assists per game and keeping at least a 55% or better true shooting percentage and get snubbed from the All-Star game. He's the second player in NBA history to do that. Do you know who the only other player to do that is?
Somebody that was catching hate for no reason, but go ahead.
Trae Young last year. It was Trae Young last year, dog. It was Trae Young last year and this year. He is the only player in NBA history to be putting up these insane efficient numbers and get snubbed. And then here is where we can loop this back to where how you started the pod, and you said winning clearly matters, like to this year's All-Star game, because it has to be record. Because if it's about individual stats, the boy is putting up efficient numbers and he's just not winning. But I don't know. So I wanted to just talk to you about that. How do you feel about that?
To answer in short, I agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
My more in-depth answer is I hoped and I expected more from Trae Young. First off, let me say this. I have been the biggest Trae Young fan since he came in the league. Like, I was one of the truthers that, like, I bought all the shares that I could buy. I defended him at every turn. And my biggest thing was when he grows up a little bit, get a little bit more tenure, and they get somebody to allow him to play off the ball, we're going to see the best of Trae Young. And I was spoiled with Steph. I was spoiled watching him take pride in doing some Reggie Miller stuff off the ball, right? And so I just assumed that when Trae Young started losing, got a little bit more tenure, and then they got another ball handler, he'd back up. And since then, I've watched Tyrese Halliburton do everything that I think he's capable of doing. To be clear, I think Trae Young is a top 5 offensive player in the league. I think when you ask as much of an offensive player as you do, you can give them some leeway on defense to chill, or even when you're off ball to just kind of lay in the cut for a bit. But he does nothing off the ball. Nothing off the ball. And then he doesn't garner like the leadership, the love from the rest of his teammates. You know, you can see sometimes his body language is bad, and it's just like, so when I go in on him, I'm holding him to a different standard because I just feel like he could be it. Yeah. And I think he's a top 5 offensive player in the game, easy. And it allows for some big concessions on the defensive end because of what he can do. But he's been underwhelming, disappointing. And I'm not going to give you extra credit for these stats that you do when your usage is that high. And this is a whole nother segment going into Luka, whatever. But the gist of it is there's some intangible that Trae's missing, and that stigma against him might be unfair to a point. But it's the only way he's gonna grow. So I'm with it.
Yeah. No, I'm with it, brother. I love what you you know the point you brought up about Trae Young just not really doing much off ball. That's been about my biggest
Nothing.
that's been my biggest qualm with him because it's like, all right, I get it if you're shooting from Stephen Curry range, shooting from the parking lot, like we got to step up on
Yeah.
you, but this cannot be a thing where on the other end we're playing 4-on-5, and then if you don't have the ball in your hand, you're just kind of just standing
You're
there like
also
you're just kind of just standing there at the damn near half court line waiting to get a three. Like, dog, there is no fluidity in this offense. Like that just won't work. Look at Stephen Curry,
nothing.
and that's why, like how you said, Stephen Curry spoiled this because people that don't really watch the game think that maybe that's what Stephen Curry do, but that boy move off the ball. That boy do not stop moving off the ball. As a matter of fact. So
Not only that, there's two other things. So like one, he is happy to support the team in any way that he can, even when he's not touching the ball. Just taking pride in being a decoy.
yeah,
And then two, his effort. He's not a plus defender, but he takes pride in not being a negative
minus. Yeah.
defender. Right? Be standing in the right spot. Be engaged. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like some of the clips that I see from him is like everybody's got lowlights, but his are
Hmm.
like
Like you
his
even
are rough.
trying, gang? Like I feel you.
Yeah.
But all right, brother. So and
Yeah.
then last little like my last little 2 cents with the All-Star roster. I think the only other player, so like I said, I think Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox were the two like by far biggest snubs. Trae
Mhm.
Young, a little bit less of a snub, but still putting up great numbers on the high efficiency, maybe a snub. And then the last snub that I could say is a step below Trae Young because also losing record, but big time numbers. Laurie Marketing, 23 points per game, 8 rebounds,
Good one.
49% from the field, 39% from the three-point line, 87% from the free throw line. And we're talking about a big that do it all, brother. Like he rim runs, shoot threes, block shots, stays out of foul trouble, doesn't turn the ball over much. And yes, the Jazz are sitting in the 10th seat at the time of recording, but not to his fault. And if he wasn't there, they'd be damn near dead last in the league. So that's it. And then everybody else, brother, like the Brandon Ingrams, the Jamal Murrays, the Rudy Gobert's, all those guys were not snubs. Like I said, guys, the league is at an all-time high with talent level. The cutoff is gonna have to be somewhere, and I think that
Yeah.
cutoff is right there, maybe even at Trae Young, to be honest. But I had to give Laurie and Trae a little bit of love because of individual play.
To me, Markkanen sticks out like a sore thumb as far as a snub because, like, to me, you remember that question you asked me about starters, when we were getting into starters over the East, and I said Jalen Brunson over Mitchell and Tyrese Maxey. And there's an intangible thing about like reviving a complete city, and you're the
Mhm.
1A, right? So I give credit to that, even when Utah's record's a little bit more mid than the rest. I'm like, Los Angeles, do they need to? It's a balance. Their overall record versus the raw star power. And I just Marketing, like you hit the nail on the head, bro. He's the face of this Utah revitalization
Yep.
going on. And he's nice too. He be trying to
Nice.
yam on everybody, banging out the three. He's just like I like
Yeah.
him a
I
lot.
like him. I like him a
So
lot, brother. So, and then last question here is who do you take out? So, if you had to take out one, who do you take out from? Because I think that the only possible person for me to take out, I'll be honest, from the West is Cat, and from the East is Randall. And not even because of the injury. I'm talking about just like play wise. If I had to take somebody out,
I thought about that one. Cat would be the three on the bubble, and that three bubble is kind of like closer, in my opinion, was AD and PG-13. Not that their numbers ain't commensurate with it, but when I look at like what a all star, what I just got done talking about Laurie Markkinen, it's not that PG-13 ain't it, and if it was going to 15, but if I had to choose, like it would be Cat, AD, and AD. Not that they're not both falling out, but to be where the Lakers are, and
yeah,
both of them have been like, I only got room for one, and
yeah, no,
we're gonna grandfather LeBron in.
yeah.
That's where I'm at.
That is tricky because it's like, how are you not going to bring
Tricky.
LeBron? So, and
Yeah.
then with the season Anthony Davis is having, like, how are you
I
also not going to
know,
bring
right?
him?
I know.
So yeah,
So it's not even.
that's
I don't even. This
yeah,
ain't even hate on AD, bro.
yeah.
It's
I
not.
hear you.
But
I hear
I
you,
just
brother.
wanted to.
I hear you. All right, brother. So let's go ahead and keep it pushing. Let's get some more news around the league. So we just seen that Joel Embiid is set to miss some more games because of his left knee lateral meniscus tear. He's already missed 12 games so far, which brings him very close to that 65 game rule. 65 game rule mark, which basically means for those of you guys that aren't like in tune with the league and all that's going on is if a player doesn't play at least 65 games or more, they are not eligible for any award. So MVPs, All NBAs, all that. So strictly with the Joel Embiid situation, like how does that make you feel? And then we could get into other players and all that, but just with this Embiid situation, how does that make you feel?
Uh, Unfortunate. And I wish it wasn't that way. However, where everybody's talking about the rule being messed up, um, I'm looking at it like they set out with a very clear agenda to stop the gray area load management, not your real load management. I'm talking about the ones where you're like, hey, I'm finna call in sick because I'm kind of like on the bubble, but we're just gonna grease the wheels for the playoffs kind of thing. And it's been working.
Mhm.
It's been working. They set out they're executing what they set out to be. But they didn't factor this in for Tyrese Halliburton.
Mhm.
They didn't factor this in for Joel Embiid to be crushing it in 65, 70% of the games he's playing. I think it's unfortunate, but I never look at a rule like that and say there's not, like Joe Dumars said, unintended consequences.
Look, bro, I'm gonna get off on a little rant.
Go ahead, go ahead,
I'm gonna get
go
off a little
ahead.
rant, Jay. I'm gonna be honest with you. All right.
Please go.
I think this rule is absolutely stupid, especially for Joel Embiid. Because check this out. Joel Embiid right now is averaging 35 points per game. Okay. The last person I remember seeing doing that was Kobe Bryant in, I believe, 05-06 season, right? He's averaging 35 points per game right now, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, shooting 53% from the field. Okay. If you've been watching the NBA, you've been watching the 76ers, there is no way you can come to a conclusion that any other player in the NBA has been playing better than him. He has just been playing so dominant, been getting literally whatever he wants. So how can the MVP not go to him? Like, just for real, like, can someone explain to me how it can not go to him? Because if it goes to anybody else, if it goes to any other player in this league, in my opinion, there will forever be an asterisk next to it. It's like you only got it because Joel didn't play enough games, and that's the little CBA
Yeah.
rule. But it is just the absolute most stupid rule. And let me get into a little bit more, especially for Joel Embiid, because right now, brother, this is a lose-lose situation for Joel Embiid. Okay, if he doesn't play, because he wants to rest and get ready for what actually matters, which is winning Larry O'Brien, then he's not eligible to win an MVP, which years down the line, when people who did not watch this season and didn't know how dominant he was, they'll just look at the numbers. Oh, he didn't get that MVP. Oh, he didn't get that MVP, right? But if he does play, then he's risking is even more injury, further injury, and he's risking maybe being able to compete for the Larry O'Brien down the road. And if he does play through injury, he just won't be able to perform at the same level. We're athletes. We know once you have that injury, you just cannot play at that same level. But with that being said, I do understand the reasoning behind the rule because, like, if we look back and like back in the day when Jordan and all these players played back in the day, like you could go on Basketball Reference and find that Jordan played a couple of 82 game seasons. Like there was a couple of players who just played all 82 games
Mm-hmm.
back then. Nowadays, not very common that you see players do that. But like I said, I just think it forces players in a very weird predicament because, like I just gave you the example for Joel Embiid, either he plays and risks the Larry O'Brien by not being able to play at his best, right? Because he's playing through injury, or he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
play and risk his MVP. Now let's look at the Tyrese Halliburton situation because I love how you brought up the Halliburton situation. Because look, in his contract, he can make an extra 41 million if bro makes an all NBA team. But if he doesn't play, then if he doesn't play at least 65 games, then he can't make an all NBA team. So now you're indirectly saying, Tyrese Halliburton, I'm going to force you to make a decision of, are you going to be selfish and
Mm-hmm.
play through these games and play injured and not play as well? And I mean, I don't know if you've been watching Pacers, but TJ McConnell has been starting and Tyrese Halliburton's been coming off the
Time
bench.
out, time out, time out, time out. You just made. I don't even really want to interrupt you like that, but when you say not play well, that is not the only penalty that is not the only potential consequence when you play through an injury like that. See Kevin Durant in the playoffs towards the end of the year when he tore that Achilles
Mhm.
because he went out too early. Apologize for interrupting,
No,
but
no,
that's not the only when you come out there early, that's what you're risking. That's the real opportunity cost of it going all bad. Go ahead, please.
absolutely. So exactly, right? Even that. Thank you for even adding that to my point. And then on top of that, so if Tyrese Halliburton doesn't play those 65 games, then he's basically just saying, "Yep, I'm gonna leave $41 million on the table."
Hmm.
But if he does play, like how you said, he's risking injury, and he's just not playing at the same level. And I just think that like you're literally forcing him to make a selfish decision. Because I'm gonna tell you straight up, me, I'm playing. Coach, put me out there for 20 minutes a game. I'm getting my
Yeah,
41 million. I don't care.
yeah,
Some players are more like how LeBron James and Dwayne Wade were when they went to the Heat, where they're like, oh, we're more worried about winning. But remember when Carmelo Anthony, he could have gone to the Heat, but he'd rather stay on the Knicks so he could sign a supermax. So he's like, I'm trying to get all my money.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
dog, all I'm saying is the rule's stupid because you're forcing players in a
Oh,
tough predicament.
no, but no. So let me put you on the spot because, like I said, I agree and I understand. The thing here is that teams. Let me ask you. Let me set the tempo for the response I'm looking for. The tough question I want to ask you: do you believe prior to this year that teams were abusing the load management on the other end of the spectrum?
Yes.
Like star players playing one away game in any given city and choosing to sit because not just playoff, whatever, but just started abusing it.
Yes.
Do
And
you believe that that happened?
I believe it's not a good idea when you go like when you're like, oh, I'm not gonna play tonight because I want to prevent injury. Like if you're like, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
play tonight because I'm injured, totally different story. But if you're saying like, oh, I'm not gonna play tonight because I want to prevent injury, then that's not cool. But dog,
Yeah.
but Jay,
Or do you think it was or do you think that that happened because of non-basketball stuff? We're talking about human beings here, dude. We're talking about like, oh, I'm just
bro,
gonna low
Jay,
manage tonight. But the real issue is, I'm just not. Hey, I'm hardened and I was at the club last night. I'm just gonna post up here real quick. Whatever. Like, you can't tell me that did not happen
no, it
up
did,
until this past
it
year.
did. But okay, but then that falls on the players, dog. Because real quick, pardon
Yeah.
my language, but f that, dog. Like, bro, you think I could just call into my boss and be like, "Yo, I'm so sorry, I was out way too late last night, and I'm just gonna not work today. I'll be
But you
there,
use
but
a
I'm just
sick
not
day.
gonna
You
work."
don't do that. You just call in. Hey, I'm gonna use a sick day right now. That's I'm all I'm saying is that the league was put in a funky spot because load management was going too far. And I believe that putting players like Tyrese and Joel Embiid in a position to have to play, that's not the answer. Like the 65 game rule is pretty clearly not the answer right now. But they still have to figure out the solution to that piece of it, which is people just goosing this whole load management thing because it was getting out of pocket.
Can we meet in the middle maybe and say like there's a minimum of games you have to play, but let's not just rip MVPs and rip $41 million from
The financial
people away.
ramifications. You're
Yeah,
right.
like
The
that's
financial
crazy, bro.
ramifications is crazy. It is.
Bro,
It is.
$41 million is crazy, Jay. Come on, dog.
It is.
Even if you got money, bro, like come on,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
crazy.
And to be clear, what it is, it's over the span of like 5 years. So his max is determined by making the All NBA, and so that's five, and then seven, and then you get your raises. So over the course of 5 years, 41 million. But it's to be determined at the beginning of that contract and not get it. Yeah, that's that. You can't have somebody risking long-term serious ramification injury because they're chasing money because of this new rule.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. That's crazy. All right, brother. So let's go ahead and keep it pushing here, and let's get to our next segment of the show here, and that is a very fun game that is called Start Bench Cut. We've all played this, when we've been in high school, middle school, just sitting there talking around with your friends. And right now, we're not talking, all time. We're talking just based on this season. So forget what they did last year, forget what they did a couple years ago. let's look at what they did this season. So let's go ahead and get into this. That's cool with you, my brother?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's
That's
get it. Let's get it. This is gonna be a tough one. Jay, I'm gonna hit you with some Jay. That's just like I was trying to figure some of these out, and I'm like, I don't even think I know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't
I
know.
know.
So let me hit you with the first one, Jay.
I saw him.
Okay,
Go
here
ahead.
we go. Star bench cut. SGA, Anthony Edwards, or Jason Tatum. I'm putting you in a tough predicament.
I don't like how you like because it's just gonna come off as shade and slander and all this other like I don't like all
Sorry,
right.
Jay. I'm sorry, Jay. That's what we do over here at Clutch
All
Talk,
right.
man. We
So
ask the hard hitting questions.
right? Because I just I love Jason Tatum's game. You know when they started out like that.
Ah!
You know. You know when they started out like that. Let me sandwich it with some good and then you throw in the middle. I'm like, so I love Jason Tatum's game. Um but
Yeah, I knew the belt was
uh
coming.
yeah, but um I'm sorry, SGA
On
is
another
a
level.
starter clear cut. Like like there's only one question to be said about SGA at this point, which is and I want to I mean, I'm sure I'll bring this up again, but my only question is when they start swallowing the whistle a little bit in the playoffs, how effective and how efficient is he going to be? That's it. Other than that, he's my starter. I don't think there's much to be said about why, and that's him. Um, then it comes down to Ant and JT, and I think Ant, like he is, I mean, no fear. I mean, he did sell a couple free throws. Was that a week or two ago?
Yep. He did
But
sell on those.
I think he fears no man in the league, and he is relentless. His his in between game, his like his pull up is a lot better, a lot smoother than I ever thought it would be, and so it with JT it comes down to his efficiency. I don't know if it's ever going to quite be at the level of some of the most efficient in the
Mhm.
league, and while he is a better, more committed defender, um, I, I this isn't shade towards him. I just like Shay and Ant just a little bit more.
That's real, bro. And I am right there with you, dog. I'm absolutely starting SGA without a question of doubt. I mean, out of the three, he's played the most games at 48. He's
Yeah,
averaging the most points, the most assists, the most steals, the most blocks,
yeah.
the best free throw percentage, and the best field goal percentage. And by the way, his field goal percentage is like drastically better than both Ants and Jason Tatum's. SGA is at 54% from the field, while Tatum is at 47 and Anthony Edwards is at 46. So that is like that is a huge jump. And
What is
also,
your
what's up?
go ahead?
No.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say like you talk about like having no fear, and I'm right with you, I'm right there with you. I think Anthony Edwards have no fear, but I think SGA has even less fear because that boy don't care if it's Wembanyama in there. He is going in and he's trying to put him in the rim or he's trying to lay it somehow, and he's gonna get some
Yeah,
free throw line. So
Hezzy. Yeah.
yeah, and also think
What is
out of
your favorite part?
sorry, I'm so sorry, Jay. So go ahead, tell me, talk to me.
No. All I was gonna say was, what is your favorite part of SGA's game?
Honestly, my favorite part of his game is his footwork. He has
Mm,
elite footwork, dog. You would have thought in his past life he was a big. You really would have thought
yes.
in his past life he was a big. He gets to that like he gets to the hoop and then he stops on a dime and his footwork, the way he moves his shoulder, the way he moves his hip, boy, them up fakes and he just goes up and under to the hoop almost
Mm-hmm.
every time. I love SGA, and also out of all three of
Yeah,
these guys, I think he's the easiest to build around. To be real with you, out of
I
Ant
agree.
and
I
JT.
agree. His versatility, like he, I think the more his offensive usage dials up, just like every other elite player in the league, the more their offensive usage dials up, their defense, they start picking spots to cheat and whatever. But when they get to the highest leverage moments, can they turn up defensively? And I have no doubts about Shea being able to be accountable on the defensive end when that time comes. But countless times, I watch him hit somebody with a step back,
Hmm.
and I watch them fly the other way. and his is so pristine when he steps back and then the jump, and he lands in the exact same spot every single time that he jumps, and it's just it's butter. It is, but I'm like, what? Okay,
Hey man, honestly, SGA is a hooper's hooper. Like they want to talk about
he
a
is.
hooper, that's a hooper's hooper. But let's keep it pushing, brother. Start bench cut. Devin Booker, De'Aaron Fox, or Donovan Mitchell. A little bit easier than the last one, but still tough.
I'm a. I hate this, dude. I hate this because I don't like the negative connotation with somebody you're cutting.
We can
I'm
say
gonna
trade.
I'm gonna
We can say
say
trade.
I'm
We
gonna
can say
say I'm
trade.
gonna say I'm gonna cut De'Aaron Fox. Um, yeah. I
Okay.
mean, because it's like Booker. I don't even see SGA for most of um what SGA does. So like Booker, like I'm not messing with that. And I've never been the biggest Donovan Mitchell fan. I never have been. But watching, especially the last month or so in
Hmm.
Cleveland, he has been putting in work. And while I do not think he's long for Cleveland, yeah, he has been putting that backpack
He
on
been
for
putting
real.
that backpack
He
on
is
and
carrying
just
him.
walking around Cleveland.
He has been. And that gives me the nod over De'Aaron Fox. But De'Aaron Fox is banging out the three, I think, at a career high.
Mm-hmm.
And he is it. He's 1A for Sacramento. He's every part of their, them not no longer being the laughing stock of the league.
Yeah.
And I got nothing but real good things to say about him. I just Donovan Mitchell, when all the chips is on the table, shows up. I have no questions about that at all. And Booker is just a shade below those top 3 or 4 guards in the league. Like he's just like next in line. And I got he's the starter in this group.
All
So
right, Jay. Here's where the show takes a turn. Here's where the show takes a turn, Jay, because you're right. Like you're right, and I don't even have the numbers to back this up because the numbers don't back me up. This is a strictly eye test, okay? But I'm actually going to start De'Aaron Fox. I'm actually going to start De'Aaron Fox, and I know that,
okay.
and I know that's surprising because it's like, damn, Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell, and you're right. Donovan Mitchell's been straight backpacking Cleveland the last
Yeah.
couple of months, but the only thing that De'Aaron Fox has over these players is the fact that he's played the most games than these guys. But I mean, scoring wise, Donovan Mitchell's at 28, Devin Booker's at 28, De'Aaron Fox is right there at 27. So it's not like De'Aaron Fox is like
Yeah.
a wildly worse scorer than both Booker and Donovan Mitchell. But I honestly, bro, I'm gonna be real. Like maybe this is because I'm on the low. I'm a Lakers fan, but on the low, I'm a Kings fan because I'm over here in Sacramento. I go to the Sacramento Kings game sometimes. So I watch De'Aaron Fox play a lot. And I'm going to be honest, bro. I actually trust his playmaking ability more than both Donovan Mitchell and Devin Booker. Like, and I know that might sound crazy because Devin Booker's averaging more assists, Donovan Mitchell's averaging more assists, but that between Devin Booker and between Donovan Mitchell and De'Aaron Fox, the assist difference isn't that big. For Devin Booker and De'Aaron Fox, it's a little bit bigger. Devin Booker's averaging 7.2, while De'Aaron Fox is only averaging 5. But my thing is, look at his team, and I mean, he's been given the point guard responsibilities. He got Kevin Durant with him. I don't think De'Aaron Fox has something like that, but Doug, I just think I see the way De'Aaron Fox sets up an offense. Like he doesn't even necessarily have to have the ball to play make. He can run that DHO action with Sabonis, that little handoff at the top, and he can play make off that. Like I don't know. So numbers wise, like I'm wrong. So the comment section is probably gonna grill me, whatever. I don't really care. But I'm telling you what I see. This is an eye test, and I'm gonna go ahead and start De'Aaron Fox. This is gonna sound crazy. I'm gonna bench Devin Booker and cut Donovan Mitchell, but I mean that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at, Jay. I'm not even gonna talk. I don't got numbers to back it up, but that's where I'm at.
To each his own, and I can't argue that. I guess the area that I would be with you 1000%, except for what I saw from Donovan Mitchell in that series that him and Jamal Murray went at it, and
Man,
I
the
was
bubble.
just like, and yeah, and I've seen him time after time like attack the moment,
Yeah.
and so not that De'Aaron Fox is not capable of it, because I think he's hasn't had the same opportunities that Donovan Mitchell has. It's just that because I know that because De'Aaron Fox is so quick, dude. He's so quick.
Insane.
Like I'd be afraid to stand in front of him. But you can't fake what Donovan Mitchell did. So like I know he has that. And
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Yeah. I mean, I have no rebuttal points to that, brother, to be honest. But all right, let's get into this last one right here. We got Jalen Brunson, Star Bench Cup. We got Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton, and Damian Lillard.
This isn't fun.
That's
not even okay. This ain't not even a good question, dude. It's not, but we'll roll with it. Go ahead. You first.
You know why I wanted to throw this in there? Because of the whole All-Star dilemma, right? Because of the whole All-Star dilemma.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
you know,
that was a good one.
That
You're right. Yeah.
the whole All-Star dilemma. I mean, we know both me and you think Jalen Brunson should have started. You actually swayed me a couple episodes ago. We had talked about that. Yeah. If you haven't checked that episode out, y'all go check that episode out. We had my boy Jason. We was talking about some All-Star starters, but we decided on Jalen Brunson. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Jalen Brunson. He's played the most games out of all three of these guys, averaging the most points on the best three-point percentage, and he's doing this as the number one option. I'm going to go ahead and bench Tyrese Halliburton because, I mean, literally besides points and games played and three-point percentage, Tyrese Halliburton leads both of these guys in literally every single category. And in my opinion, this is completely subjective, so relax, everybody out there. He plays the most fun brand of basketball. Like between those three guys, if I could pick one player to watch, I'd pick Tyrese Halliburton. Very fun to watch. And I'm going to go ahead and cut Dame because, yes, he's putting up big-time numbers, but not number one option. And it just doesn't feel the same anymore, bro. Like, I don't know. Like, you tell me. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, I used to watch Dame in Portland, and every time he touched the ball, I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm like, oh, what's going to happen? I just don't feel that same way this year. So that's where I'm at with that, brother.
And you're starting?
I'm starting Brunson. Yeah.
Okay. I was like, no commentary needed. No commentary needed. Okay. Right. I'm gonna switch it a little bit. I'm gonna start Tyrese. I'm gonna bench Brunson. I'm gonna cut Dame. And this actually hurts my soul a little bit. You know, he's from the Bay, and like I love everything about Dame. The only demerit I could possibly give him is he was talking out of both sides of his mouth a little bit towards the end of Portland there. But everything else, I mean, he has been a first class superstar. But he is now. He's not even a 1B. He's a 2A, to Giannis. And this is really more about Tyrese and Jalen Brunson. They're just between Mr. Shifty himself, Jalen Brunson. Like I just am in a state of shock every time I watch him do work, where he's not the fastest guy. He's pretty much always the shortest guy. And he still gets it done, and can't nobody stop him from getting anywhere on the court that he wants to be at. So that's an easy bench for me. And then Tyrese Halliburton, the brand of basketball, you hit it on the nail on the head. And I think that he is a catalyst for that whole team. Like I think he multiplies everybody else you put on there, and you can't say enough about him. And the sky's the limit. Now, when his 3-pointer was like a little sus, like you're like, but when that started hitting at the consistency and the efficiency, like now that's a game changer.
That boy, I think that boy shoots from the parking lot, dog. That boy shoots from the parking lot, dog. That is crazy. And his shot is so ugly, bro. His shot is so
the prettiest.
Hideous. But bro, it be rainbow in it. Every time I'm like, bro, what? No, I love that, bro. I'm right there with you. Yeah. All right, dog. All right, well then let's go ahead and keep it pushing, and let's go ahead and get to our next segment, which is the game of the week, my brother. Like I said, we're recapping week 15 from the NBA. So I want to know, brother, if the fans out there, let's say they're busy. Let's say, they're out there working some crazy hours. They don't got the time to sit down and watch games, or they don't maybe got the determination or motivation to go and sit down and watch games like how we do. So what I want to ask you, brother, is for a casual out there, if they was just watching, what would be the game of the week that you would tell them to go back and watch this week?
For me, watching, I don't know if you caught any of the Warriors Hawks. Was this last night? Steph had 60, right?
Yeah, 60 last night.
Yeah. like to me, this is like the end of a dynasty. This is like watching, like to a casual fan who says, yeah, the Warriors won 4 championships out of the last 6, 7 years, right? Watching that where Steph is putting up 60 and they're fighting and that it just still wasn't enough, right? Like, because I watched that game and they just put him down and it was just like, it's kind of surreal to watch it and just it just not be enough. To me, I think they could make the right trade. We've talked about this before, the right small trade and plug some holes and give it a good go. But for the most part, it's just watching your I wouldn't say my idol, but like watching watching your superhero just kind of like run out of gas, dude.
Yeah.
And that's what and watching that game was like it was like it was bigger than that game because they
Mhm.
were trying and it wasn't enough. So
No, I love that, brother. That was gonna be my game of the
60.
that 60. Come on, y'all. 60 burger is crazy. Man, I mean, look, that was gonna I be full transparency, Jay. That was gonna be my game, but because you took it, I'm gonna go in a different direction. One of my favorite games that I've seen so far this week is the one that probably flew under the radar for a lot of people. It was the Pelicans versus Spurs. The Pelicans beat the Spurs 114 1.
Mm,
Okay. It was the two phenoms, Jay. They went at it, right? It was Zion versus
mm-hmm,
Wemby. We had the strength of Zion versus the height of Wemby. Great game, Jay. It was 12 lead changes. Spurs got off to an early lead. Devin Vassell had 10 points in that first quarter. Second quarter, both Zion and CJ popped off for 11 points. Third quarter, the Spurs shot a nasty 20% from the three-point line, while Brandon Ingram had 12 points just alone himself in that third quarter, which led us up to a great fourth quarter where Zion just absolutely took over, dog. So I'm telling you guys out there, if you guys don't believe in Zion, if you guys that don't, think that he's going to become a star or whatnot, go watch that game and then come talk to me after that because he took over. He had 14 points and he had the game-winning layup, which I'm actually, for my folks out there on YouTube, I'm about to pop up right here. So I'm about to run that back. Can you see that there, my brother?
mm-hmm. I
See
can.
that there?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and run that back here. So score, okay? The score was 112 for the Pelicans, 113 Spurs, okay? It's 11 seconds left in the game. We see I believe it's Keldon Johnson came down court and just missed the layup. We see Zion gets the ball, gets his outlet. Look at him. Look at him. Look at this. It was about three players on him, Jay. It was about three players on him. He gets the layup off to make it 114, 113 with 3 seconds left in the game. So the Spurs have the ball. We know Greg Popovich, one of the greatest coach. We like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, what's he gonna draw up? This is what the Spurs do, my brother. They run this play right here. Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell missed. He ends up missing. I don't know why it froze, but he ends up missing this three right here. Okay, but what I want to talk
Mm-hmm.
about is look at how open Wemby was. Okay, I'm gonna pause it. And mind you, Wemby's like 6'6", 6'7", whatever, or only 7 foot. Look at this, Jay. Look at this. You mean to tell me? You
That's a
mean to tell
lot.
me if Devin Vassell doesn't jump up, if he doesn't jump up to act like he's taking that three and passes it to Wemby, Wemby's not getting that lob off? Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, bro. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I think that look at that. Look at how wide open Wemby is. You did that little dump off alley you pass to him. He goes up for that layup. They win this game. Ends up being the game changer. But at the end of the day, it was a great game. Zion ended up finishing
Mm-hmm.
with 33, CJ 21, Brandon Ingram 19, and it was just fun to see Wemby and Zion go at it. Then
What was your takeaway when you see like freak to freak or unicorn to unicorn and you're like because to me when I pick out a game of the week you're kind of like extrapolating like what's the playoff precursor like what am I taking away from it like what'd you get out of it.
you know what I got out of it, Jay? I was watching this game, and I actually even told my girl, I was like, I love the NBA, and I love the fact that, like, no, I'm serious. I'm serious. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
told her, I was like, I love the NBA, and I love the fact that, like, I mean, full transparency, bro. I just turned 25 actually, early in January.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm gonna be watching the NBA for the rest of my life. I mean, God willing, I'll stay alive for a long time.
Yep.
That's up to the Lord. But like, bro, like I'm 25 and we're watching Zion, who is a freak of nature, who honestly, Jay, like
Freaks.
when he gets in the paint, ain't nothing nobody could do about it. Like we just seen him finish
Yeah.
that layup, game winning layup over 3 players, and one of them players was Wemby, who's like 7'7", bro, and just out of this world. Honestly, my biggest takeaway from that game, Jay, was like I love where the NBA is. I love where the
Hmm.
NBA is, and I love the direction it's going. And I mean,
Yeah.
I missed the boat because I wish I would have made the league. I missed the boat, Jake.
You
I
did not
missed the
miss the
boat.
boat. You participating right now as we speak with the pod and everything, and I'm right there with you. Like like the deeper that I dive into the game, the more like I fall in love with it in different ways. And Wemby is crazy.
Man, all right, brother. I mean, I think a good way to wrap up this episode is to say that the league is in a damn good spot. I mean, that's what we said at the
Hmm.
top when we said, wow, there's all these snubs, but there's only 12 roster spots. And then we're ending off the show talking about Zion and Wemby. So, brother, before we do get
Hmm.
out of here, I do want to give you the floor. Is there anything you want to say? Is there anything you want to get off your chest before we wrap up week 15 recap?
None. I'd like to. I just everybody needs to get excited about the trades. It's not always a blockbuster trade that
Mhm.
happens. There is a. I don't think Bruce Brown was a trade, but there's a Bruce Brown type of impact out there on the next championship team, and I'm looking out for that at the trade deadline. Like what are these? Somebody in the top 8 to 10 teams in the league who makes that low key power move that really tops them off, and so should be an exciting week. And then I'm gonna probably. I mean, this is my Twitter handle, but you'll see the links. I like to shoot hot takes, controversial stuff way early in advance. And so anybody who wants to smoke, come at me on Twitter, and I love to talk hoops all day. Um,
Man, I got to
as
give
long as you coherent.
No,
Go.
no, I was gonna say I got to give a warning to the fans though, Jay. I can't send a casual your way because you gonna send them back crying, Jay. So if you gonna come at Jay, y'all better come
Hey,
correct. Y'all better have your numbers there. Y'all better have your analytics because he got it. He got it, man. He got it.
yeah, appreciate
Man.
it.
All right, dog. Well, for the family out there, y'all know what it is, man. Want to check out Jay? Links will be description down below. For me, for us, we gonna keep it rolling, man. Week 15 NBA. I love y'all. Love y'all that y'all be tuning in. Appreciate all of you guys. Y'all is the reason why we keep this thing going, keep this thing pushing, and the love for the league, love for basketball. Appreciate you, James Naismith, and yeah, man. I mean, for me, like, comment, subscribe, and for now, I'm out of here, y'all. Peace.